Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Local attorney against suggestion for judges to sit and hear cases with UK-based Privy Council. Police confirm Grange Hill High School incident is linked to gang feud. And later in sports, Jamaica Cricket Association looking to rebuild under newly elected president. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. One local attorney is weighing in on the call for senior judges to sit and hear cases with the Judicial Committee of the UK-based Privy Council. Bert Samuels says he's not in favor of the idea. Mr. Samuels was speaking on Power 106 Morning Agenda today. Raquel Porter reports.
On Wednesday, President of the Judicial Committee of the UK-based Privy Council, Lord Reid, made a call for the British government to ask senior judges from other countries served by the Privy Council to sit with them and hear cases. But Attorney Bert Samuel says Lord Reid appears to be on a mission to have Jamaica retain the Privy Council as its final appellate court. Mr. Samuels, who supports the Caribbean Court of Justice, says this is sufficient reason for Jamaica to leave the Privy Council.
Well, you know, mixed signals coming out of that court. There have been previous judges who says that, you know, we should go, we can go. Well, now Lord Reid seems to be on a mission for retention of that court. He said that they are removed from the Jamaica situation, so that would, you know, be a great call for independence of the court. What about his final court being in Jamaica, so that we would not, the English people would not be able to influence us?
According to Mr. Samuels, there is also a cultural and language barrier that can have a negative impact on the move.
If he's saying that we can't administer our own affairs without the element of bias, then I take issue with that. I do not have in practice in Jamaica for 45 years find that there is any collusion between powerful people and decisions of the Jamaican judges. So I take serious issues with any talk that because it is outside of Jamaica, there is some great thing about that.
Mr. Samuels believes Lord Reid is coming from a place of arrogance.
It's not a Jamaican court. It's not staffed by people that look like us. And there are times when they give decisions that I'm totally opposed to. For example, the decision that we should police our clients. The Jamaican Court of Appeal from our judges said that it would be a breach of the Charter of Fundamental Rights for lawyers to be reporting their clients. And the Privy Council overturned that decision and said, yes, it is good. Let them be policed. So there are decisions that I'm totally opposed to. Of course, there are decisions, too, that I think are very good, which have reversed the Jamaican Court of Appeal. But the House of Lords in England, who is the final Court of Appeal, reverses the Court of Appeal in England, too.
Raquel Porter, TVJ News.
Police in Westmoreland are reporting that Thursday's gun attack on two Grange Hill High students was gang-related. The students were shot after leaving the school sports day by two men on a motorcycle. The male student died while the female student remains hospitalized in stable condition. It's understood that the deceased 16-year-old was the target of the attack.
This incident is a continuation of gang activities affecting the Grange Hill police area. Our investigators are working on strong leads, and we are confident that we will find the perpetrators. I'm using this medium to urge persons with information on this incident or any other incident affecting the Grange Hill police area to pass on this information to the police.
Two parents are begging for answers following the fatal shooting of their son in Browns Lane Central Village in St. Catherine. They believe their son was killed in cold blood. Romardo Lyons reports.
Officer, good night. Can I have a word with you? I hear that not kill my son.
A sentence she struggled to say, but one she had to. Her son, 37-year-old Joseph Campbell, was killed by police officers. To her dismay, she didn't get an answer.
Nobody answer me. Until when they come, about after 2 SWAT van come, and when a 2 big van come up, the 2 big van block the road. And when they come round, turn to come up, like them come for him body then come up and then up about an hour. When the SWAT van come, that's the time that they come out, and you see them a lick our face, and over put on gloves.
This house, a symbol of her son's last moments. Inside, furniture and belongings in disarray. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, says it was advised of the fatal shooting incident. The police reported that they were engaged in a shootout with men in the hills in the vicinity. INDECOM says police alleged that a 9mm pistol was recovered. The man's father rubbished those claims.
No bullet hole in the house, only the blood stain to show that he got shot in the house and going through the bathroom window.
Information Minister Robert Morgan responding to a question at the post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday on whether the government is concerned about the increased police shootings in St. Catherine.
We cannot make a definitive statement on any of the incidents other than to say that if the police are confronted by criminals, the police have a right to take action. But we cannot pronounce on any particular incident until the constituted authority, which is the internal police mechanisms, as well as INDECOM, have finalized their investigations.
Which part him a done, which part my gunman, he right down the same work every morning. He work right beside public service.
Residents want INDECOM to properly probe the incident.
To me in my place, I shake like leaf. I can't even ball out and hear my friend are dead. I can't do nothing at all. I have to just I wonder if this is real.
Now INDECOM is probing the fatal shooting of 3 men in separate incidents between Friday and Saturday in St. Catherine. Ramarda Lyons, TVJ News.
Concerns are mounting in the legal fraternity over the number of cases to be tried in circuit courts across the island. Attorney-at-law Oswestina Smith says a number of strategies have been introduced to help alleviate the pressure on some courts. In St. Anne, the circuit court is undergoing 12 successive weeks of trial.
St. Anne, in all candor, has long been wanted for there to be a considerable extension of the sitting of the circuit court, because the numbers are so staggering and there has to be some tremendous effort made in terms of making a dent in the list.
The attorney says while significant progress has been made in reducing backlogs, there is still a far way to go.
I believe the numbers are in excess of 300 cases in the St. Anne Circuit Court. In prior circuits, the learned judges have set matters to as far as 2026, I believe. I know I have matters up to late next year, 2025, and those were set from last year, 2023. And all of that was with a view to trying to have an impact on the cases, but regrettably that has not borne the kind of fruit that we would expect.
2 men were taken to hospital following a motor vehicle crash along the Content Main Road in St. Elizabeth Friday morning. It happened sometime after 8. According to reports, 2 vehicles were traveling from Santa Cruz to La Covia. One of the drivers told us what he saw.
I was coming around the road and had my indicator on from about probably 30 meters up here. And when I came across the road, I prips in my mirror, I saw him, the truck coming. I tried to escape him and couldn't avoid it. He was behind me coming. So obviously probably he wasn't focused or something. I saw that the indicator on the car.
So he hit you and then head in the house?
Head in the house.
An occupant shared her experience. She says this is not the first time it has happened.
Me a bed in the bathroom and me heard boom, boom, boom. And when Marlon, we was talking to Marlon, and when Marlon come out and come and say to me, say, Mama, I want truck to the house. One time Marlon did run off and come, but he never come down. It's the way I did it, he just lean down so he never come. This is the first time it ever happened. This never happened here. But
concerns are being raised about the misuse of ambulances assigned to hospitals in the Northeast Regional Health Authority, NERA. The authority says that the vehicles are being used to respond to emergencies on the roads, but that's outside of their jurisdiction. More details in this report.
Ambulances are oftentimes contacted to transport victims in the event of a crash on the island's roadways. But according to Regional Director of the Northeast Regional Health Authority, NERHA, Fabian Lam, that's not the purpose of the vehicles. Their primary duty is to serve the needs of the hospital they are assigned to. She says the transportation of crash victims is the responsibility of the fire department.
There is a misunderstanding of the purpose of these ambulances. Many people believe they are there as emergency response equipment to respond to the scene of motor vehicle accidents. But primarily that's the responsibility of the fire services. Emergency response is the responsibility of the fire service. When we're able, we do assist.
In the meantime, Director Lam says the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital continues to be plagued with bed shortage issues. She says the hospital saw an influx of patients during and after the Easter season, with the majority being crash victims and patients being treated for non-communicable diseases. But the staff is making good with what's available.
We aren't without our challenges in terms of bed capacity, in terms of staffing to meet the needs of everybody. We are now in a society where everybody wants attention immediately, and everybody wants to get better immediately. So we try to treat our patients.
Amoy Harriet, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. A stern warning to unregulated business operators in St. James to get in line or face prosecution. Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, issued that warning at a meeting with the St. James Police, the National Environment and Planning Agency, and the National Public Health Laboratory. Mr. Vernon says with the ongoing developments in Montego Bay, there must be order.
Persons doing body work in the middle of the road. In the middle of the road. Person spraying in the middle of the road. The vapor going all over. Persons working on the vehicle in the traffic. And you look at the drains. As a councillor that has responsibility for that area, when I ask persons to take a contract to clean the drains, we don't have the money to pay them because they say what they are seeing in the drain, we can't pay them to go in there to clean it.
The drains are then emptied along the coastline, causing pollution and environmental offenses. Mr. Vernon says there are regulations that speak to polluting water bodies. So, as part of efforts to enforce order within the city, he is calling on workshop operators to come on board.
We don't see you as hustlers. We see you as business operators, carving out a legitimate way of life to earn your money. And because of that, we decided not to take the approach to just go around and to start write up people because they breach. Maybe sometimes you don't even know that you're breaching. Because what public health knows, what NEPA knows, perhaps you do not know it. And it takes some type of training or sensitization, information sharing for you to know. And that is what we're doing. We're educating persons who operate within the space so that they can develop a better appreciation for how they operate their businesses.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaicans paid almost 3% more for a number of utility services for the year up to March. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says point-to-point inflation for housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels was 2.9%. For the month of March alone, the division rose by 0.9%. The National Statistics Body says the movement was mainly due to a 2.6% average increase in prices faced by consumers for electricity, gas and other fuels. Higher electricity rates pushed up the index. However, Statin says there was a 0.2% decrease in average rates for water supply and miscellaneous services relating to the dwelling. For the month of March, there were lower average water and sewage rates. Further afield, the National Retail Federation says consumers are expected to spend a near-record $33.5 billion this Mother's Day. That number is the second highest since the organization began annual consumer surveys. This year's expected spending falls just short of last year's record of $35.7 billion. The largest spending amount will go towards jewelry, special outings, electronics, and flowers. The average sum a person is expected to spend will be little over $250. The biggest spenders are expected to be between 35 and 44 years old. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Carrie Simpson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Haiti's newly installed Presidential Council has promised security, justice, and economic recovery as the Caribbean country seeks to find its way out of crisis. Interim Prime Minister Michel Patrick Boisvert says the council vows to organize a national conference to build a large consensus on major issues facing the country.
Haiti, our country, finds itself at a crossroads, searching for suitable solutions to emerge from this multidimensional political crisis, which has lasted too long.
On the international scene, the pro-Palestinian protests, which erupted across several universities in the U.S., have now spread to France. Dozens of students at the Paris Institute of Political Studies carried out a blockade as the now global protests continue for a third day. The group of students could be heard chanting slogans such as "Free Palestine." And Republican attorneys general from 17 states in the U.S. have filed a lawsuit against the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC. This over a new rule under the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act that mandates most employers to offer accommodations for workers during pregnancy or childbirth, including providing time off for an abortion. But the attorneys general argue that Congress passed the bipartisan Pregnant Workers Fairness Act to protect mothers-to-be, and the EEOC's attempt to rewrite the law into an abortion mandate is illegal. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Amoy Harp.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jermaine Brown.